The three massive ships appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system without warning. They were enormous, each one larger than any city humanity had ever built. Their hulls shimmered with colors that human eyes had never seen before. Within hours, every telescope on Earth and Mars pointed toward them. Within days, the entire human race knew they were not alone in the universe. The ships broadcast a message in thousands of languages. The voice was strange, musical, and utterly alien. Greetings, young species of Earth. We are the Galactic Council. We come in peace to welcome you into the greater community of intelligent life. We wish to speak with your leaders. Captain Jack Morrison stood on the bridge of the UNS Defender, humanity's newest diplomatic vessel. He was a tall man with gray hair and sharp eyes that had seen combat on 3 different worlds. The military had chosen him carefully. He was a fighter, but he also knew when to talk. Behind him stood Amy Chen, Earth's chief scientist, a brilliant woman who had helped develop the fusion drives that first took humans beyond their own solar system. Colonel Ryan Hayes stood nearby, his arms crossed, his face showing nothing. The alien delegates materialized on the Defender's conference room through some kind of transport technology that made Amy's fingers itch to understand it. The lead delegate called himself Ambassador Zixthor. He was tall and thin, with skin that looked like polished silver and eyes that had no pupils at all. 2 other aliens stood with him, different species entirely, one covered in what looked like feathers, another that seemed to be made of living crystal. "Welcome to our vessel," Jack said carefully. He had practiced this moment 1,000 times, but nothing prepared him for actually seeing them. Zixthor's mouth did not move, but somehow his words filled the room. "We bring you the gift of civilization. For 10,000 years, the Galactic Council has maintained peace across 47 worlds. Now, we offer you the chance to join us." Amy leaned forward. "We're honored by the offer. What would membership require?" The crystal alien touched a device on its arm, and suddenly the air filled with holographic text. Pages and pages of it, scrolling endlessly. "These are our integration protocols, standard for all new species." Ryan started reading, his face growing darker with each passing second. Jack read too, and felt his stomach tighten. Amy's expression changed from curious to angry. "Let me understand this correctly," Jack said slowly. "You want us to limit our technology? You want us to control our population? You want us to surrender all our military ships? You want us to abandon colonies you think are too aggressive? You want us to stop all research into artificial intelligence, and you want us to accept junior species status for 500 years? "Correct," Zixthor said. "These measures ensure galactic stability and peace." "Peace," Ryan said, his voice hard. "You mean control." "We mean safety," the feathered alien said. "Young species are dangerous. They must be guided." Amy laughed. It was not a happy sound. "Guided. You want to put chains on us and call it guidance?" "You do not understand the dangers you face," Zixthor said. "The galaxy is not kind to those who refuse wisdom." Jack stood up. He had commanded soldiers in battle. He had negotiated with pirates and warlords. He knew a threat when he heard one. "Ambassador, humanity thanks the Galactic Council for its offer, but we must respectfully decline." Silence filled the room. The aliens looked at each other in what seemed like confusion. "Decline?" Zixthor repeated. "No species has ever declined membership." "Then we're the first," Ryan said, standing beside Jack. "We didn't fight our way to the stars to ask permission to exist. We're not going to surrender our freedom because you're afraid of us." "You do not understand what you are rejecting," the crystal alien said, its voice ringing like bells. "Protection, guidance, security." "We understand perfectly," Amy said. "You're offering slavery dressed up as safety. No thank you." Jack moved toward the door. "This meeting is over. You can return to your ships. Tell your council that humanity appreciates the contact, but we choose to remain independent. We hope we can still be friends and trading partners, but we won't be your subjects." Zixthor's silver face showed something that might have been shock. "You are making a terrible mistake. The council will give you 30 days to reconsider. We hope your wisdom will grow in that time." The aliens vanished in a shimmer of light. Ryan immediately started pacing. "They'll be back, and they won't be happy." "Let them come," Amy said. "We're not children who need babysitters." Jack looked out at the stars through the viewport. Earth hung in the distance, blue and beautiful. Mars glowed red nearby, covered with human cities and farms. Beyond them, 12 more human colonies spread across nearby systems. Humanity had worked hard for every meter of space they claimed. "Get me the Defense Council," Jack said quietly. "Tell them to start building warships. Tell the colonies to prepare for trouble. And tell everyone that humanity just declared its independence to an empire of 47 worlds." Ryan smiled grimly. "They're not going to like that." "They'll like what happens next even less," Jack said. "If they think they can force us to submit, they're about to learn what humans do when someone tries to take their freedom." The Defender turned and began its journey back to Earth. Behind them, the 3 council ships remained at the edge of the solar system, watching and waiting. In 30 days, they would return for humanity's answer. Humanity's answer was already being built in shipyards across a dozen worlds. The orbital station Concordia Prime had floated above the Council's capital world for over 6,000 years. Inside its grand chamber, representatives from 47 civilizations gathered for an emergency session. Counselor Velthar, an ancient being whose species had been part of the Council since its founding, looked at the assembled delegates with something approaching concern. "The humans have refused," Zixthor reported, his silver face somehow managing to look disturbed. "They rejected every term. They walked away from our offer." A wave of shocked sounds filled the chamber. Some delegates made clicking noises, others hummed in frequencies that human ears could never hear. The feathered delegate from the meeting stood and spread its wings wide. "Impossible," it said. "No species refuses the Council, ever." "Perhaps they do not understand," suggested a delegate whose body seemed to be made of flowing water. "They are young, ignorant." "They understand perfectly," Zixthor said quietly. "That is what concerns me." General Crix stepped forward. He was from a warrior species, covered in thick armor-like skin, with 4 arms and eyes that could see into infrared. "I have reviewed their military capabilities. Council members, I must warn you, these humans are dangerous." "Dangerous?" Velthar asked. "They have only had faster-than-light travel for 40 years. They have only 12 colonies. How can they be dangerous to us?" Crix activated a holographic display. Images of human history filled the air. Battles, wars, weapons of terrible power. "This species has been at war for 15,000 years. Nearly continuous conflict. They have refined violence into an art form. They pack weapons on civilian vessels. Their literature glorifies combat. Their children play war games for entertainment." "But they are so few," another delegate said. "We have trillions across our worlds. They have mere billions." "Numbers are not everything," Crix said grimly. "Look at their tactics. They practice something they call total war. They do not fight for territory or resources alone. They fight to completely destroy their enemy's ability to resist. And they never give up. In their history, some wars lasted over 100 years. The chamber fell silent. Amy Chen's face appeared on another screen, frozen in the moment she laughed at their protocols. Some delegates shuddered at the human expression. "They mock us," one delegate said angrily. "No," Zixthor said. "They refuse to fear us. That is far more dangerous." While the council debated, humanity acted. Kate Sullivan stood on the surface of a new colony world, watching construction robots build the foundation of another city. She was the settlement leader, a tough woman who had grown up on Mars and knew how to survive in hostile environments. When the Council's warning message reached her, demanding she halt all construction, she sent back a single word: no. Across human space, 11 more colonies did the same. Construction accelerated. Paul Martinez worked in an orbital shipyard, studying pieces of alien technology that humans had carefully retrieved from Council probe ships. He was a genius engineer who could look at any machine and understand how it worked. Within 2 weeks, he had improved human plasma drive efficiency by 40% using alien principles. "They gave us a gift," Paul said to his team, grinning. "They showed us their technology. Now we make it better." The Council watched this activity with growing alarm. They sent automated defense platforms to surround human space. These platforms were supposed to create a quarantine zone, preventing human expansion. The Council had used them before on primitive species. The platforms had never failed. Fleet Commander Lisa Rogers received the alert on her flagship. She was a career military officer, calm and calculating. She looked at the sensor readings showing 47 defensive platforms forming a wall around human territory. "They think they can cage us," she said quietly. Then louder. "All ships, this is Commander Rogers. Those platforms are an act of war. Destroy them. All of them." The human fleet moved like a single predator. Council observers watched in disbelief as human tactics unfolded. Small drone ships swarmed each platform, overwhelming its defenses. Electronic warfare specialists hacked into platform control systems. Missiles traveled paths that defensive systems could not predict. When hacking failed, human ships simply rammed the platforms at high speed, sacrificing themselves to take out the targets. In under 6 hours, all 47 platforms were destroyed. Not a single manned human ship was lost. The drones had done most of the dangerous work, guided by human creativity and aggression. On Concordia Prime, alarms screamed. Zixthor watched the destruction unfold with growing horror. Those platforms were supposed to be impenetrable. They have withstood attacks from species far more advanced than humans. "They have never faced humans before," Crick said grimly. "Humans do not attack the way we expect. They use swarm tactics. They sacrifice unmanned vessels without hesitation. They hack systems we thought were secure. They fight like they have nothing to lose." "They fight like they want to die," Velthar whispered. Steve Parker appeared on the communication screen. He was humanity's military spokesman, a former soldier with a scarred face and steady voice. "Ambassador Zixthor, this is our response to your quarantine. Any further attempts to restrict human movement will be met with force. We wanted peace. You chose intimidation. This is your warning. Leave us alone." The screen went dark. The Council chamber erupted in angry voices. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others called for negotiation. The warrior species wanted blood. The peaceful species wanted to run away. "We must show them our power," demanded a delegate from the Krethak Empire. "We must demonstrate why they should fear us." "Perhaps we should reconsider our approach," Velthar said carefully. "These humans are not like other species. Force may not work." "Force always works," the Krethak delegate snarled. "We simply have not used enough of it." Admiral Thexnor, commander of the Council's military forces, stood. He was old and experienced, having fought in 3 major conflicts. "Council members, I recommend a demonstration of force, a show of overwhelming power. We destroy something they cannot defend. A moon, perhaps, something to show them the futility of resistance." The vote was close. 28 in favor, 19 against. Zixthor abstained, staring at the data from the platform attack. Something about it troubled him deeply. These humans fought too well. They adapted too quickly. They showed no fear at all. "This is a mistake," he said quietly, but no one listened. The Council fleet began to assemble. 200 warships, each one powerful enough to glass a planet. They would gather near human space and make their demonstration. Then humanity would understand. On Earth, Laura Bennett sat in a dark room filled with computer screens. She was humanity's best intelligence analyst. She listened to intercepted Council communications and smiled coldly. "They're coming," she reported to the Defense Council. 200 ships. They plan to destroy one of our moons as a warning." "When?" asked the defense coordinator. 72 hours. "Good," said Maria Santos, Earth's defense coordinator. She was a brilliant strategist who had been preparing for this moment since the first Council contact. "Initiate Protocol Midnight. Let them come. We'll be ready." Admiral Thexanor stood on the bridge of his flagship, watching the human solar system grow larger on his screens. Behind him, 200 Council warships moved in perfect formation. They were the pride of 47 civilizations, each vessel a masterpiece of technology and power. He felt confident. How could such a young species stand against such might? "Target the uninhabited moon," he ordered. "Charge all weapons. This will be a demonstration they never forget." The moon was small and lifeless, orbiting a gas giant in the outer system, perfect for the Council's purposes. The weapons charged, energy readings climbed. The fleet prepared to show humanity the true meaning of power. Then space itself seemed to explode around them. "Admiral, contacts! Hundreds of them!" his sensor officer screamed. Human ships appeared from everywhere at once. They had been hiding in the asteroid belt, using the rocks for cover, their engines cold and silent. Now they came alive like angry hornets from a disturbed nest. 340 human warships against 200 Council vessels. Admiral Dan Cooper's voice cut across all frequencies from the UNS Victory. "You wanted to make a demonstration, Admiral. Let us show you ours first." The human fleet did not attack in formation. They swarmed. Small fighter craft piloted by living humans darted between the massive Council ships. The Council used only artificial intelligence for such dangerous work, and their computer minds could not predict the crazy, illogical movements of human pilots. Missiles came from impossible angles. Kinetic weapons traveling at 90% of light speed punched through shields that were supposed to be impenetrable. "Impossible!" Thexanor shouted. "Their weapons should not be this powerful. Our shields should hold." They did not hold. Human nuclear-pumped lasers burned through Council hulls like paper. Cyber attacks turned Council ships against each other, their own weapons firing on their own allies. And when human ships were damaged beyond repair, their crews did something the Council had never seen before. They rammed. Battle Commander Ryan Tucker watched from his command ship as one of his destroyers, engines failing and hull breached, turned directly toward a Council dreadnought. "Captain Henderson, you don't have to do this," he said quietly. "Yes, sir, I do," came the reply. "For Earth, for freedom." The destroyer slammed into the dreadnought at maximum speed. Both ships exploded in a ball of fire that lit up space for millions of miles. "They are insane!" Thexanor's tactical officer screamed. "They sacrifice themselves willingly!" "Fall back!" Thexanor ordered. "All ships, retreat!" But the human fleet did not let them go easily. They pursued, harried, destroyed. Council ships that had seemed invincible were torn apart by human weapons and human fury. When the survivors finally jumped to faster-than-light speed and fled, 89 Council ships were destroyed or disabled. The humans had lost 34. Captain Nicole Graham led the cleanup operation, her ship moving among the wreckage. "All vessels, scan for survivors. Rescue anyone you find, regardless of species. We are not monsters." They found thousands of Council crew members in escape pods and damaged ships. Every single one was rescued, given medical care, and treated with respect. The survivors could not understand it. They had come to destroy, and now their enemies were saving them. Jack Chen became famous across human space overnight. The young pilot had somehow managed to position his fighter perfectly to hit a Council dreadnought's reactor with a single missile. The massive ship had exploded, and Jack had barely escaped with his life. When reporters asked him how he did it, he shrugged. "I saw an opportunity and took it. That is what humans do." Within days, human fleets pushed into Council territory, but they did not conquer, they did not occupy. They simply destroyed military installations and then left. Captain Nicole Graham led raids on supply depots, taking what humans needed and destroying the rest. "We are not here to rule you," her broadcasts said. "We are here to teach you a lesson. Leave us alone." The galaxy watched in shock and horror. The Concordia network, the galactic version of the Internet, flooded with footage of the battle. Species that had never heard of humans suddenly knew their name. Some called them barbaric. Others called them brilliant. All called them terrifying. But there was something else in the footage, too. Humans rescuing aliens. Humans treating prisoners with care. Commander Steve Rodriguez personally risked his life to save 2,000 alien civilians from a damaged orbital station that was about to explode. He and his crew pulled them off the station minutes before it blew apart. "Why did you save us?" a rescued alien asked him, confused. "We are your enemies." Steve looked at the alien with tired eyes. "You are not our enemy. Your government is. There is a difference. We fight soldiers, not civilians. We are not barbarians, no matter what your leaders tell you." The Council met again on Concordia Prime, but the Grand Chamber was different now. Windows were shattered from distant explosions. Some delegates wore bandages. Others had not come at all, too frightened to leave their home worlds. "We are losing," General Crix said bluntly. "In every engagement, humans defeat us. Their tactics are superior, their weapons are devastating, and their willingness to sacrifice themselves gives them an advantage we cannot match." "How is this possible?" demanded one delegate. "We have technology thousands of years more advanced than theirs." "Technology is not everything," Velthar said quietly. "They have something we do not. They have a reason to fight that goes beyond logic. They fight for freedom, for pride, for the right to exist as they choose. And they will not stop." Zixthor stood, his silver face looking older somehow. "Intelligence reports show humans are building 12 more fleets. Their entire civilization has shifted to a war economy. Every factory, every shipyard, every resource is going to the war effort. Our analysts believe they can sustain this for 50 years. "And us?" Velthar asked. 2 years, maybe 3. We have grown soft with 10,000 years of peace. We do not know how to fight a real war anymore." "Then we must negotiate," said the water-like delegate. "They will not negotiate," Crix said. "We tried to enslave them. They will accept nothing less than complete independence now." "Then what do we do?" someone asked in the silence that followed. No one had an answer. Outside the station, human ships patrolled the edges of Council space, waiting and watching. Inside human territory, shipyards worked around the clock. Colonies produced weapons and supplies. Scientists improved technology daily. Every human from Earth to the furthest colony knew they were at war, and every human knew why. Laura Bennett sent her latest intelligence report to Earth. "The Council is fracturing. Some species want peace. Others want revenge. They are divided and afraid. This is our chance." Maria Santos read the report and smiled grimly. "Good. Let them be afraid. Let them understand what it means to threaten humanity. We did not want this war. But now that it is here, we will win it." Admiral Dan Cooper broadcast one final message to the Council. "You came to our home with threats and chains. You thought we would submit because we are young. You thought we would bow because you are many. You were wrong. This is what human defiance looks like. This is what human war looks like. And it will not stop until you leave us alone. The choice is yours. Peace or destruction. Choose wisely. The message echoed across the galaxy, and 47 civilizations trembled. The shipyards above Mars should have been full of ships. They should have been humanity's weakness, the perfect target for a decisive council strike. Admiral Thexnor's replacement, Admiral Felnix, led 150 warships toward Mars with confidence. Intelligence said the humans were building their fleet there. Destroy the shipyards and humanity's ability to fight would be crippled. Approaching Mars orbit, his navigator reported, scanning for targets. The shipyards were there, massive structures orbiting the red planet, kilometers long and bristling with construction equipment. But something was wrong. Admiral, his sensor officer said slowly, I am not detecting any ships. The yards are empty. What? Felnix leaned forward. That's impossible. Our intelligence said... Space erupted with weapons fire from every direction. The asteroid belt, which should have been lifeless rocks, came alive with human warships. 340 vessels emerged from hiding, their weapons already hot and ready. They had been waiting in complete silence, using the asteroids for cover and the cold of space to hide their heat signatures. It's a trap! Someone screamed. Battle Commander Ryan Tucker smiled coldly from his command ship hidden among the asteroids. All ships, this is Tucker. Fire at will. Show them what happens when they come to our home. The Battle of Mars lasted 4 hours. The Council fleet tried to form defensive positions, but human tactics made formation meaningless. Small fighter craft, each one piloted by a living human with reflexes and instincts that no computer could match, swarmed between the large vessels. They were too small to target effectively, too fast to track, and too crazy to predict. Kinetic missiles traveling at near light speed punched through shields before the energy barriers could even register the threat. Cyber attacks infected Council systems, turning their own weapons against them. Nuclear-pumped lasers, a weapon the Council had banned as too barbaric centuries ago, burned through armor designed to withstand conventional weapons. And when human ships were damaged, their crews did not retreat. They attacked harder. Pilot Jack Chen's fighter took a direct hit that destroyed his left engine and cracked his cockpit. He should have ejected. Instead, he aimed his dying craft at a Council dreadnought and fired every missile he had left. The dreadnought's shields collapsed, and 3 other human ships finished it off. Chen, eject now, Ryan Tucker ordered. Negative, Commander. I can still fight, Jack replied, somehow keeping his crippled ship in the battle. He survived. His ship did not, but the dreadnought he helped destroy took 200 Council crew with it to the dark. The Council fleet broke. Ships that had fought for thousands of years turned and ran. Admiral Felnix watched his fleet dissolve around him and knew he had lost. Unlike his predecessor, he chose to live with the shame. His ship jumped to faster-than-light speed, and the survivors followed. Behind them, 89 Council ships floated dead in space. Humanity had lost 34 ships, but the victory was absolute and undeniable. Captain Nicole Graham did not celebrate. She immediately organized rescue operations, pulling survivors from destroyed ships. Get me medical teams here now. I don't care what species they are. Save everyone you can. Human fleets did not stop at Mars. They pushed forward into Council territory with shocking speed. But their strategy confused everyone who watched. They did not conquer planets. They did not establish occupation zones. They simply destroyed every military installation they found and then left. Nicole led a raid on a major Council supply depot. Her ships jumped in, destroyed the depot's defenses, took supplies that humanity needed, and destroyed the rest. Then they broadcast a message and left. We do not want your worlds. We want you to leave ours alone. Every military target you have will be destroyed until you understand this simple truth." The galaxy watched in fascination and horror. Footage of human attacks spread across the Concordia network. Species that had never seen real war were shocked by human efficiency. Every attack was precise, every target was military, and every battle ended with humans rescuing the survivors. Pilot Jack Chen became something of a celebrity, though he hated it. His single-fighter attack on the Dreadnought was shown on networks across 100 worlds. When reporters asked him about it, he looked uncomfortable. "I was just doing my job." Any of us would have done the same. That was what frightened the galaxy most. Not that humans had heroes, but that every human seemed willing to be one. Commander Steve Rodriguez rescued alien civilians from another damaged station, this time a research facility that humans had accidentally hit during a battle. He and his crew pulled off 6,000 civilians, mostly families and scientists who had nothing to do with the war. "Why do you save us?" a young alien child asked him as they evacuated. "My teacher says humans are monsters." Steve knelt down to the child's level. "We are not monsters. We are people who want to be free. Your leaders tried to take that freedom. That is why we fight. But we fight soldiers, not children, never children." The mother pulled her child close, tears in her strange alien eyes. "Thank you." The footage of that rescue played billions of times across the galaxy. Some aliens began to question their leaders. If humans were barbarians, why did they rescue civilians? If humans were monsters, why did they treat prisoners with such care? Why did human soldiers risk their lives to save alien children? On Concordia Prime, the Council met in emergency session for the 15th time. The Grand Chamber was half empty now. Some species had withdrawn their delegates, others had simply fled. "We cannot win," General Crick said flatly. "Every engagement ends in defeat. Our fleets are scattered, our supply lines are broken, and human forces grow stronger every day." "How many fleets do they have now?" Velthar asked. 20, with 12 more under construction. Their industrial capacity exceeds our estimates by 300%. Every human seems to be working on the war effort, and they show no signs of slowing down. Counselor Felmix, a being made of energy contained in a force field, pulsed with agitation. "We must sue for peace. We must negotiate before they destroy everything we have built." "They will not negotiate," Zixthor said quietly. He had been silent through most of the war, watching and thinking. Why would they? We came to them with chains. We threatened them. We attacked their home. They owe us nothing. "Then what can we do?" demanded the Krethak delegate, one of the few warrior species still pushing for continued fighting. "We can admit we were wrong," Velthar said slowly. "We can acknowledge that we tried to enslave them. We can offer genuine peace, not the false peace of subjugation." "Never!" the Krethak delegate snarled. "We do not negotiate with primitives." "Those primitives are destroying us," Crick said coldly, "and they show no signs of stopping. Intelligence suggests they can maintain their war economy for 50 years. Our economy is already collapsing. We have 2 years at most before our civilization begins to fracture, and the humans know it. They are not trying to conquer us. They are trying to break us." Laura Bennett's intelligence reports confirmed it. She sent daily updates to Earth showing council supply problems, political conflicts, and military defeats. They are falling apart. Some species want peace, some want revenge, some want to leave the council entirely. They cannot agree on anything except that they are losing. Maria Santos read the reports with satisfaction. Good. Let them suffer. Let them understand that humanity cannot be threatened. When they are ready to treat us as equals, we will talk. Until then, the war continues. But something unexpected happened. Into the chaos came a message from a species humanity had never heard of before. A species so old and so advanced that even the council feared them. They called themselves the Architects, and they had been watching the galaxy for 2 million years. Their message was simple. Both sides will meet us at neutral coordinates. We will mediate. This war benefits no one. Ryan Tucker read the message and frowned. Who are the Architects? Unknown, Laura Bennett replied. But the Council is terrified of them. Every species in the galaxy knows about them. They are ancient, powerful, and they have never intervened in galactic affairs before, until now. Why now? Ryan asked. Maybe, Laura said slowly, because humanity is the first species in 100,000 years to challenge the Council's power. Maybe because they want to see what we will do next. The coordinates were sent to both sides. Humanity chose diplomat Kate Morris to represent them. She was tough, smart, and completely unwilling to compromise on human freedom. On her way to the meeting, she reviewed everything they knew about the Council and the coming negotiations. We hold the advantage, Maria Santos told her before she left. Do not surrender it. We wanted peace. They wanted war. They lost. Now they pay the price. Kate nodded. Understood. But if these architects are as powerful as reports suggest, we need to be careful. We have beaten the Council. We may not be able to beat something older and stronger. Then let us hope, Maria said quietly, that they are wiser than the Council, and that they understand what humanity truly wants, not conquest, not empire, just freedom. The neutral station appeared in space like a dream made solid. It was not built by any known species. It simply existed, ancient beyond measure, maintained by technology that made even Council science look primitive. Kate Morris stood at the airlock of her shuttle, taking a deep breath. Behind her stood Paul Henderson, a human mediator with 20 years of experience solving impossible problems. They were humanity's representatives, and the weight of billions rested on their shoulders. The Council sent Councillor Velthar and Ambassador Zixthor. Both looked diminished somehow, older and tired. The war had cost them more than ships and resources. It had cost them their certainty. The architect waited in the central chamber. It was difficult to look at directly, as if its form existed in more dimensions than human eyes could process. When it spoke, the words seemed to form directly in their minds rather than traveling through air. Welcome. I am Keeper of the Ancient Path. My people have watched this galaxy for 2 million years. We have never intervened in the affairs of younger species. Until now. Why now? Kate asked directly. She had learned that diplomacy sometimes required bluntness. Because you are different, the architect said, and something that might have been a smile crossed its impossible face. In 100,000 years, you are the first species to say no to the Council, the first to fight for your freedom rather than accept comfortable chains. We wish to understand why. Velthar spoke carefully. Great Keeper, we offered them protection, guidance, security, all the benefits of our civilization. They rejected it all. You offered them slavery, Kate said flatly. You wanted us to give up our weapons, our colonies, our technology, our independence. You wanted us to become your servants for 500 years. We said no. That is why we fought. But why? Zixthor asked, and he genuinely seemed confused. Other species accepted. They saw the wisdom in our offer. They understood that young species need guidance. Because they were afraid, Paul Henderson said quietly. They chose security over freedom. They chose comfort over independence. Humanity chose differently. The architect's form shifted. Explain. Kate stepped forward. Throughout our history, humans have always chosen freedom over safety. We have died for it. We have killed for it. We have suffered for it, because freedom is not just important to us. It is everything. We would rather die free than live as slaves, no matter how comfortable that slavery might be. But you are so young, Velthar said. You have only been in space for decades. We have maintained galactic peace for 10,000 years. Surely our experience means something. Your experience means you have forgotten what freedom costs, Kate replied. You have maintained peace by controlling everyone, by making sure no young species could ever challenge you. You call it guidance. We call it oppression. The architect was silent for a long moment. Then it spoke, and its words seemed to shake the station. Counselor Velthar, you asked why I intervened. I will tell you. For 100,000 years, I have watched the Council grow. I have watched you take young species and shape them into copies of yourselves. You have created a galaxy without conflict, but also without growth, without challenge, without change. We created peace, Velthar protested. You created stagnation, the architect said coldly. Every species that joins you becomes weaker, softer, dependent. The Council does not guide. It controls. It does not protect. It restricts. And I have watched this happen for millennia, waiting for a species strong enough to break free. Zixthor's silver face looked stricken. You are saying we are wrong? That everything we built is a lie? Not a lie, the architect said more gently. A mistake. A well-intentioned mistake. But a mistake nonetheless. You wanted to prevent war, so you prevented all conflict. You wanted to prevent suffering, so you prevented all growth. You created peace, but you killed progress. Kate listened carefully. This was more than she had hoped for. Then you support humanity's position? I support freedom, the architect said. I support the right of species to choose their own path, even if that path is difficult. Especially if that path is difficult. Growth comes from struggle. Strength comes from challenge. The Council forgot this. The negotiations lasted 3 weeks. They were brutal. The Council wanted humans to disarm. Humans demanded complete independence. The Council wanted security guarantees. Humans wanted to be left alone. Back and forth day after day, both sides exhausted each other with demands and counter-demands. Paul Henderson proved his worth during those weeks. He understood something that Kate sometimes forgot in her anger. The Council was not evil. They were afraid. They had built their entire civilization on the idea that young species needed guidance. Humanity threatened that idea. What do you fear? Paul asked Velthar during a private conversation. What truly frightens you about letting humanity go free? Velthar was silent for a long time. That others will follow. That our entire system will collapse. That chaos will return to the galaxy. Or, Paul said gently, that new and better systems will arise. That your way is not the only way. That you have been wrong for 100,000 years. Yes, Velthar admitted quietly. That terrifies us most of all. The breakthrough came when Kate proposed something unexpected. We do not want to destroy the Council. We do not want to rule the galaxy. We just want to be free. But if you let us go, we will protect any other species that wants the same freedom. We will create a new alliance, not of masters and servants, but of equals. The Free Worlds Alliance, Paul added. Any species can join. Any species can leave. No one tells anyone else how to live. But we defend each other against tyranny, including yours if necessary. Zixthor looked at the architect. Is this acceptable to you, Great Keeper? It is perfect, the architect said. This is what I hoped would happen. Change, growth, a new path forward. The Treaty of Terra was signed 4 days later. The terms were simple. Humanity would remain independent. The Council would remove all restrictions. Both sides would reduce military presence in border zones. Trade would be established on equal terms. And any species that wanted to join the Free Worlds Alliance would be welcome. 23 Council species signed separate alliance agreements with humanity immediately. 8 species announced they were leaving the Council entirely. The balance of galactic power shifted in a single day. 5 years passed. The galaxy changed more in those 5 years than it had in the previous 1,000. The council still existed, but it was reformed, humbled, no longer supreme. The Free Worlds Alliance grew to 150 member species, each one choosing freedom over security. Kate Morris stood on a platform above Earth, watching the naming ceremony for humanity's newest colony ship. The ship was massive, beautiful, designed to carry 10,000 people to a new world beyond council space. Admiral Lisa Warren stood beside her, now retired from active service, but still respected across human space. "I never thought we would win," Lisa said quietly. "Not against 47 civilizations." "We did not win by being stronger," Kate replied. "We won by refusing to lose. We won by showing the galaxy that freedom is worth fighting for." The ship's name was revealed. Independence. The crowd cheered. Captain Amy Sullivan, chosen to command the vessel, stood at the bow and smiled. She had been a scientist when the war started. Now she was a symbol of humanity's future. "We go to the stars not as conquerors," Amy said in her speech, "but as free people. And we will defend that freedom for anyone who asks, for ourselves, for our children, and for any species brave enough to stand with us." 6 months later, Counselor Zixthor visited Earth. He walked through human cities, marveling at their chaos and creativity. Everything was different from council worlds. Messy, loud, passionate, alive. Kate Morris met him at a small cafe in New York. They sat outside, drinking coffee and watching humans rush past on their busy lives. "You were right," Zixthor said finally. "We were afraid. We tried to control everything because we feared chaos. But in doing so, we created something worse. Stagnation." "What will you do now?" Kate asked. "Reform. Learn. Grow." Zixthor smiled, a human expression he had learned. "Your kind has taught us that change is not always bad, that struggle can lead to strength, that freedom is worth any price." "What will humanity do now?" he asked. Kate looked up at the sky, where ships from 100 worlds moved between the stars. "Whatever we want, explore, build, create, fight when we must, but always free, always choosing our own path. And if others threaten that path, then they will learn what you learned," Kate said with a small smile. "That humanity does not bow, that we would rather die standing than live kneeling, that freedom is not just a word to us, it is everything." They sat in comfortable silence, watching the sun set over a planet that had changed the galaxy, not through conquest, not through empire, but through the simple, stubborn refusal to surrender what mattered most. Above them, a ship prepared for departure. Its destination was unknown space, far beyond any map. Its crew was mixed, humans and aliens working together as equals. Its mission was simple: explore, discover, live free. The ship's engines ignited, and it rose toward the stars. On its hull, painted in letters large enough to see from orbit, were 3 words that had become humanity's motto: freedom through strength. The galaxy had learned what those words meant, and it would never forget.